That's pretty straightforward stuff.
I was just trying to make a comparison. It was convenient. So.
I'm not 100, so I don't give a say. Not the roads. Yeah, that's all I like. The only way to see them on the road. What do you got going to it?
Microsoft came out with their computer today.
Oh, they did?
Surface 4 and Microsoft. Something like that.
This is still
Like my old I'm
first time
yeah,
doing it, I
it's
think it's
pretty nice.
You know, it takes adjusting, you know, because on a normal keyboard's a little smaller. Yeah, I fumble a little bit. Pack. A little more convenient to carry around.
just Waupaca with us.
Take out my bait. Don't you want a gavel? Yeah, I can see that. You got one in his truck.
Spinning wild too. I talked to his I talked to his wife today because I work with her, and I said, well, you know. With the kids. There you go.
Oh, you figured it out.
Whatever, you know, so I have to tweak it. Just makes it work.
Your iPad will be your friend. You took the questions.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
You're on.
Good evening. I'd like to call this council meeting, regular council meeting to order at 6:02. I'm Alderperson Paul Mayo. I'm City Council President and will be acting mayor tonight. However, I will be voting as a council person. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sandy, would you read the open meeting statement, please?
This meeting and all other meetings of the Common Council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin state statutes, so that citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting.
Thank you, Sandy. And would you take roll, please?
Steve Hackett. Here. Lori Chestnut. Here. Paul Hagan.
Here.
Alan Keeland.
Here.
Scott Perchatsky.
Here.
Dave Peterson.
Here.
Paul Mayo.
Here.
Chuck Whitman.
Here.
Jillian Peterson. Here. And Eric Olson.
Here.
10 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Sandy. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything that they want taken from the consent agenda and moved to their regular agenda, staff or council people? Anybody? Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda,
So
please.
moved.
Moved by Keelan, second by Hackett to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next, we have the regular agenda. Sandy, we have a couple of additions.
Under number 9, new business, letter D, request for qualifications for the Downtown Vision and Redevelopment Plan was emailed on Friday, October 2nd, 2015, and placed on the city website. And also under number 9, new business, letter E, request for proposal for the Retail Market Analysis and Development Plan was emailed on Friday, October 2nd, 2015, and also placed on the city website. And that's all.
All right, thank you, Sandy. I need a motion to approve the regular agenda with these additions.
So moved.
Moved by Peterson, second by Keelan to approve the regular agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Council approves regular agenda as amended. Under non-agenda items and announcements, we have a thank you note from the family of Jim Smith. That's informational on page 67. Next, we have public input. This is input from the public on non-agenda items. If there's anybody or council, for that matter, that has any input on a non-agenda item, please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Anybody? Okay, we'll move on. Under unfinished business, we have nothing. Under new business, we have a second amendment to option water tower and ground space lease on Shambo Tower. U.S. Cellular increase to monthly tower rent of $200. This is on page 68 through 86. Henry, would you fill us in on the details?
Thank you, Paul. With us in the audience is Todd Anderson. He's working for the consultant Edge Consulting Engineers, which U.S. Cellular is hired to work them through this process. The tower that we're talking about, they have existing equipment on the tower. The tower is a Shambo tower. It's located by Gusmer Enterprises, just to get you oriented. This is a really good thing. They're increasing their capacity on that tower to have more of a footprint in this area. So competition among cell providers is a really good thing. The thing I didn't include in your packet, which is one of those judgment calls, I didn't throw in the 30-page original lease, but let me tell you about it. You know, it was pretty thick. It was negotiated in '07, and the principal items about that lease was the lease. It was set at $1,000 a month, and every 5 years that monthly lease amount gets adjusted by the CPIs over that 5-year period, and there's a formula that we refer to in that. In 2012, there was an adjustment made. As well as in 2012, U.S. Cellular came forward with a request to increase the cabling on the tower, and it was pretty heavy-duty cabling, added weight, and due to that, the city was able to negotiate an additional $225 a month to the rent. So with the base amount and the adjustments that have been made over the last 6 years, or I guess 8 years, excuse me, we're at $1,328.10 a month. What this amendment would do would basically replace one device, and I'm really layman's terms here, Todd, but putting in a bigger antenna that will have a bigger footprint, it's a little bit heavier. And so, in conversations with Todd, felt that that was reasonable to request some additional rent from the provider, and they've agreed to pay the additional $200. The amendment, pretty straightforward, highlights that, and beyond just general overview, if you have technical questions, we do have Todd here that can help you, because that's kind of, you know, beyond my bailiwick on that. But he's available for questions. If not, I'll try to answer any questions you have. I asked that Todd be here in case you had questions. I mean, did I hit the high points, Mr. Anderson? Okay. All right.
Okay, thanks, Henry. Does anybody have any questions for Todd or Henry? Anybody? Eric?
The actual climbing, like doing the work on the water tank?
Yeah, putting
It-
extra stuff up there?
The contractor that they select, and I think they already, I think I put that down on the building permit application. I do not have who the contractor is, but I can get that to Henry to let you know.
Is there any liability to the city, or somebody would fall or hurt themselves?
That's already been covered in the lease and the original lease.
Yeah, they do have to pull a building permit. And I think we've been waiting to issue it until some formal action on the amendment to know that it's approved, so.
Anybody else? Okay, I would need a motion for approval if you'd like to approve it.
Make a motion to approve.
Moved by Hackett, second by Hagan, that we approve entering into a second amendment to option water tower and ground space lease on Shambo Tower with U.S. Cellular with a monthly increase to rent of $200. Sandy will call the roll.
Jillian Peterson. Paul Mayo.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
Alan Keeland.
Aye.
Eric Olson.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Paul Hagan.
Aye.
Lori Chestnut. Aye. And Steve Hackett.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
And then I'll just get you the
Yes, sir.
executed copies. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. All right, item B, under new business, is 2016 taxi operating and capital grant applications. This is Henry again. This is on page 87.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. In the audience, our only other audience member besides Angie is Carl Schulte. He's with Brown Cab Company, our contractor. Every year, staff comes to the council to get your authorization to submit our grant application for our shared ride taxi. The application is due October 15th, so we're kind of pushing it a little bit this year. But this year as well, we're asking for permission to submit a capital grant for a rear load minivan. And Carl was just going to start us off with sort of an overview of where we're at and then kind of talk quickly where we have some recommendations for 2016.
Sure, thank you, Henry. Very briefly, it's a growth program, although this year we've had what I look at and see as a one-time setback in ridership. But since 2010, we're clearly on a 4% per clip increase in ridership. We're looking for efficiencies. We in no year since 2010 have asked for a 4% increase in our budget. We've always kept it smaller than that and tried to find efficiencies. The rear load minivan is one example. It's a vehicle that our driver won't have to get out of and swap into a large bus for wheelchairs. We'll just be able to stay on the road and just go load the wheelchair as a normal course of business as we're rolling. As Henry said, the application is due every year, and we're looking for a 2% increase in hours and a rear load minivan. It's every year, it's our goal to maximize how much user fees account for the local cost of the program. So we're recommending 2 increases in fares that don't affect the general public, but an increase in our agency fare, which only affects human services businesses, and then an increase in package delivery fare, which only increases businesses, again, that ask us to move packages around town. And with that, we're trying to reduce the amount of cash that it costs the city to a very reasonable amount. Did I cover what you needed?
Yeah, an agency fare is for moving people. Obviously, the delivery is additional, is just packages and those kind of things. And the King Vets Home uses the delivery service at some level.
It's a rather impressive model throughout the state of Wisconsin, that this intergovernmental agreement between the city of Waupaca and the Veterans Home at King. It's a very well-run program. They contribute a fairly large amount to help our program work. They wouldn't be able on their own to access mass transit funds. So this is a very good win-win situation that both King Veterans Home and the city finds itself in.
And I did receive official notification that they want to extend their agreement with us for 2016. So assuming you authorize the grant submission, then we would be back probably next month with their contract for services for next year. I believe they contribute like $32,000 to us.
And that'll be reviewed in January when we look at their usage, and it'll go up or down according to actual usage. But it's a nice number.
So, Carl, you're looking to extend the current contract into 2016 or for 2016, and then I see there's a number of items here that you're recommending. The first would be an increase in program hours. Okay, the second would be increase in agency fare, and the third would be to apply for a grant for 80% of the cost of a wheelchair accessible minivan. Correct?
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The additional hours, can you just explain, like you did to me, why you feel those are needed?
Certainly. It's about 337 hours spread over the course of 365 days. It's about an hour a day except for Sundays. It's what we will do in the late afternoons around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where currently our customers are experiencing about a 40-minute wait, is we'll overlap a morning driver and an afternoon driver by 1 hour on each of those days and improve service. On Saturdays, it's around the same time of the day that we'll be overlapping a morning driver and an afternoon driver and try to alleviate some of the slow service hours.
That additional cost to the city will be about $9,000, but the city or the state federal grants will pick up about 60% of that, and additional fare revenue, and then the increases that we just talked about will about wash out based on our projections, but it could increase our local share a little bit. I do plan on budgeting $9,000 again this year for our local share, so we are fully intending to operate within that amount, but there will be some additional costs to these hours, of course, but we think we have them covered with the financial side of it. So.
Thanks, Henry. Thanks, Carl. Any questions for Henry or Carl? Comments? All right, I'd be looking for a motion for approval of these items.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved by Keelan, second by Dave Peterson, to approve the extension of the current contract with Brown Cab for 2016 and to approve the recommendations for 2016 as follows: an increase of program hours from 16,860 to 17,197 effective January 1st, 2016. An increase in agency fare from $3.85 for people 65 years old and older. I think that's how it reads. To $5. I'm sorry.
That's not how it reads.
The agency fare does not, is not age-related.
Oh.
The agency fare, and I can explain what you're reading there in a second. Agency fare is applied only to businesses such as Medical Transportation Management Company of Wisconsin when they, under obligation, are transporting people to and from medical appointments. They're fully funded by Wisconsin Department of Health Services to cover the transportation. So it's an agreeable amount to them. What you're reading, and it does read a little confusing, what we will bill MTM or companies like them is $5.75. It breaks down like this: $5.10 that belong to the city, an additional 65 cents, which we retain, and we don't retain any other money. But with these agency affairs, these agency trips, there's a great amount of bookkeeping we must do to present an invoice that they can act on.
Gotcha.
So it's a 65-cent administrative fee that we'll collect from them.
And you're doing that now?
We're doing that now, and exactly. 65 is not changing. That's
All right.
currently true, and it will still be true. Does that help?
Yep, sure does. So essentially, increase in agency fare from $3.85 to $5.10 effective November 1st, 2015. And permission to apply for a grant for 80% of the cost of a wheelchair accessible minivan. Did I get that right? Okay. Sandy will call the roll.
Paul Hagan.
Aye.
Paul Mayo.
Aye.
Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
Jillian Peterson. Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Eric Olson.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
And Alan Keeland.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Item C, Mr. Ed Roos, Street Department, of the Street Department, has notified us that he's retiring, I think effective January 2016, somewhere during that month. Henry and Justin are going to explain how we'll proceed from here with that notice.
I'll just hit it up and I'll turn it over to Justin. Just to recap, if you remember in January, the council authorized using up to $63,000 in reserves to cover the payout of two very long-serving public works employees. I think they had almost 65 years of service with the city. As part of that process, we did ask permission to go ahead and hire a skilled crewman position, which we actually had a crewman position vacant. What is the current situation right now is we have a crewman's position vacant. It's been basically unfilled. And what this request is meant to do is give permission to not fill the crewman position, which when you think of crewman, think of laborer, some equipment operation, but no CDL, no snow plowing. And in lieu of hiring the laborer, we're looking to get permission in anticipation of this retirement in the future to hire a skilled crewman that will be able to snowplow and assist us with that. And based on our cost recovery and our projections, we feel we will have recovered our dollars by the end of November, early December, and we would seek permission to get on that trajectory to have this person on board in early December so they have plenty of time for some training, and hopefully the snow holds off to some degree. I'm sure Justin may have a few more details sort of on the day-to-day stuff, but I don't know that accurately cover.
Yeah, you pretty much hit it on the head. I guess just backtracking to last January, we had two retirees, and I guess to fill those positions, as Henry said, we hired a guy and then we promoted from within. So the one promotion was a crewman or a laborer, Now he became a skilled crewman. So we still have a vacant spot ever since it was about last February, basically trying to pay off the benefits incurred by the two previous workers. So right now we're looking at another person retiring in January again, right in the middle of snow plowing season. So we want to get back to the full staff if we can. We won't be able to get there because of this another retiring person. So what we'd like to do, instead of filling the vacant position of just a crewman, is hire somebody who's more skilled, somebody we can rely on to during the middle of snow falling season. So that's why we're going ahead, bringing it to you and saying we want to hire a skilled crewman, which is a slightly higher pay grade, but over the course of last January and on to next December, we're going to have about 18 of the 24 months will be a man short on our street department. So we feel it's something that we need to hire a quality guy now and before the snow falls, or in the middle of it all.
Questions or comments?
Well, I want
Steve.
to just make a comment because I would like the council to really start thinking this over. I've been harping about this for the last 10 years. And what I've been harping about is that we shouldn't have to let an employee retire and then wait 10 months to hire a new one or 7 months to hire a new one. It's been a bad situation for 10 years and it's continuing. And I talked to Henry today about it. But I really think the council should get involved and start thinking this over because it doesn't get any better. Every year you think, well, maybe it'll get better, but it doesn't.
So what you're referring to, Steve, is
The payoff.
budgeting the payoff, right? Okay, so that's, well, we're right in the middle of budget. That's something we can discuss for sure. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I think the reasoning is certainly sound and logical. I again object, however, to the title using the word man in it. That's got to change. We got to get up into the 21st century one of these days. So I would strongly urge that we change that title.
From crewman to crew person? Is that?
Crew person or whatever is appropriate, but not make it sexist.
All right. Good point. Okay, if there's no more comments, what we're doing here is we have two motions. The first motion would be to accept Mr. Rush's retirement notification with regrets.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Whitman, second by Chestnut, that council approves or accepts Mr. Ed Rush's retirement notification letter with regrets. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. The second thing we're doing is we're authorizing the recruitment and selection of a skilled crew person to fill the vacant position caused by Mr. Roos's retirement.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Whitman, second by Hagan, that we authorize staff to begin the recruitment process and selection process to fill the vacant skilled crew person position caused by Mr. Roos's retirement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item D. We have two requests that have been brought forth by Development Director Brennan Kane. The first is a request for qualifications or an RFQ. Has to do with the Downtown Vision and Redevelopment Plan. And I think Henry's going to pinch hit for Brendan tonight.
Yeah. Thank you again. You're going to get sick of hearing me tonight. Sorry about that. In any event, this is sort of the fourth or fifth step of a pretty long journey to hopefully one day have our total downtown reconstructed. And this project is really being facilitated by the fact that the city, and to some credit to Brennan and his staff, to put together grant applications. We received two grants towards this project. One is a CDBG Community Development Block Grant, Planning Grant, $25,000, and then we got a $16,666 grant from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, as well as we budgeted $50,000 towards this project over 2015 and 2016. And if you remember, in the second action you'll be considering is council authorized using $25,000 of the 50 that was budgeted for this parking study to create the base level of information for the reconstruction plan. So we have about $67,000 set aside for this project, and we anticipate that it could run $80,000 to $100,000. It's going to be a multi-year project. It's going to be very inclusive. The way this proposal is written, there is a lot of public participation time built into this to make sure we get as much input as possible. The approach here, some of you I'm sure have seen this because we've used it since I've been here, but it's called request for qualifications, where you get proposals. There'll be an interview team put together, and we'll pick who we feel is the best firm to do the work, and then we sit down and haggle over the money, because as we figure out what we exactly want to do, the interview process really informs us, because we're trying to write something that we don't have 100% knowledge of all the things that are out there. And typically through this process we'll learn from other firms of things that they try to do, things that they've run into, the firm that we think can perform best. So this is a little bit different than what the format is for the market analysis. The market analysis is a little more concrete, where we're actually asking for a price in their original proposal. So those are sort of the two nuances. But we believe that this downtown vision and redevelopment plan will take every bit of a year, and we'll move into 2017 very likely. So once we get to a point, you're not authorizing spending any money at this point, just allowing us to go out, get proposals. We'll come back to you at that time with the firm and some suggested compensation, and that'll be in January. And then you'll have a chance to weigh in at that time in terms of costs. If we decide we want to go with a firm that might require us to budget another $20,000 or something, we have a full year to do that, because we wouldn't have to budget it until 2017. So there would be no impact to the 2016 budget as we're formulating this. Well, if you have any questions?
I do, Henry.
Sure.
Okay, so then there's 66,000 there. I just want to get this clear. But you could go to 80,000 or 100,000?
Based on how the proposals look and kind of the work that we want to do. And at this point, I can't tell you exactly how that will look until we get proposals. We've had a chance to work through it, and we're thinking January, February was when we'll come back. The other piece of information you're going to know by then, which is very important, is where we stand with that STP urban money. Remember, we applied for that. And if we get that, that is going to inform your decision on this too a little bit. So I think all the pieces are kind of out there right now, but they'll come together in January, February for you, and we'll have a lot clearer picture on kind of where things will be going over the next year.
So this is not costing any money now, it's just going out and sending out requests for people to respond.
So you're aware of it.
Something together.
Yep. And talking with Brennan, we want to do a pretty broad recruitment. There's some websites and things we can go to, but we're thinking, Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, maybe Michigan, more of a Midwest sort of appeal. This is a lot of money, But when you factor in a couple $1 million project potentially, this is money well spent, and it needs to be spent smartly to make sure we get a good product in the end. So it's, you know, at this point we've got all of it potentially based on the proposals that come in. I mean, we're not saying it's going to be 80 or 100. It could come under the 66. I mean, until we get them. But it's a pretty big project.
So then you're just looking to get the proposals in. I mean, that's just such a cost difference, and then go into the 2017 budget, and I'm already thinking the 2016 budget is tight, so I can't quite imagine what 2017 is going to bring. And it's that little bit of uncertainty that is out there with it.
Yeah, this will just get the process going in January, February. You'll have that discussion. If you remember, we're trying to put together, or will be putting together, a retreat or a couple retreat sessions over the winter, kind of focused on some long-range financial planning. The TIF analysis will be back. A lot of things will be coming together in the wintertime that I think will give you a clear picture on kind of where we sit on a few of these things. This is just permission to go ahead and go out to the market and kind of see what's out there.
Everybody understands we're not spending any money tonight, okay? That'll be late. That'll be in January when we make the decision on which firm to accept and you know, what their fee will be. The only thing we're doing here with both of these, this RFQ and RFP, is just authorizing staff to reach out and see who's interested in working for us. And then we'll work out the details later.
Henry, you're going to reach out to various firms. Will you and staff be picking those firms, or will the council? I'm a little concerned. If you pick one firm, you're stuck with their price. I guess is I'm getting from you, or how is this working? I'm not quite.
Well, let me.
Sure.
When we did the parking study, we had Alderman Olson was on there, so I think we fully expect to have an alderman or two, alderperson or two, on the committee that interviews these firms, because I think that just makes the communication go better at this level. But in terms of a price, we're not locking in any price. We're just going to look at qualifications. We're going to talk about our budget. I think our budget's $66,000, and what can we get for that? And then if they say we can get you this, but we really want this, and there's a difference of $20,000, then we've got to have that conversation with you. You know, can we get the other $20,000 budgeted in 2017? That's really what the issue is. We just, you know, until we get the proposals and figure out kind of where the firms might like to take us on this, it is really hard to put down a price. We won't know that for a number of months.
Anybody else? Okay, I'd be looking for a motion to approve staff requesting qualifications for different firms.
Second.
Moved by Olson, second by Hackett, that council approves of staff of reaching out with a request for qualification to for the downtown vision and redevelopment plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next is the request for proposal that Henry touched on briefly. This has to do with the retail market analysis and development plan. This is also generated by Brennan. A lot of information was emailed to us concerning this, and I think Henry will take this and give us the highlights.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, the cover memo I think hits it pretty good. We did budget $25,000, so that's our working budget, and we'll have proposals based off of that. Again, if they come in and suggest we want to spend, you know, we suggest you do this, then we have to come back and look at it. But this is estimated at $25,000. We're going to hit the mark or be, you know, we're going to have to do some major adjustments. If the pricing doesn't work in, maybe we just do an overall market analysis and not focus on specific segments, the 4 areas of the city, because there's really 2 phases, okay? one big broad analysis and then a little specifics by our market districts or corridors. So depending on the pricing, we're going to have to make some value judgments on that. Maybe instead of 4, we do 2 corridors or whatever. But what happened in the parking study, I think, is very analogous here. They came in way over our budget, and we had to work through it to get it in budget, to get something that's going to be of value to us. And I think we did. I think we worked and got a good a project out of it.
Thanks, Henry. Comments or questions? Okay, if somebody'd like to make a motion, that would be terrific.
Second.
Moved by Olson, second by Keeland, that council approve of staff's request for proposal for a retail market analysis and development plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item F. This is an authorization to obtain bids and an application of safe drinking water fund loan funding for the construction of the water transmission main loop project. You recall that John Edelbeck in the spring ran this by us and emphasized the importance of getting this done. And we're at a point right now where we're ready to move forward on it. And I think Justin's going to give us the details.
Yeah, the memo is on page 90 of your packet. Basically, it details that earlier this spring, John was the one who started this and got this project moving. Hired Omni to do the design of this project, and right now we're about 90% complete with the design plans. Omni did secure DNR permitting, and next we're going to move on to the DOT permitting. I guess the contract with Omni did not spell out is getting authorization through the Public Service Commission, PSC, which needs to be done. And that needs to be done in order to, I guess, allow us to go out to bid and start construction. So the first action I'm asking for is to seek that construction authorization through the Public Service Commission so that this project could get started. Kind of divided. I had one big action at one point, but divided up into 2. And related to that is seeking a safe drinking water fund loan. This loan is a low interest loan. It'd be under 2% if we got it. Part of the requirements for that loan is to have this construction authorization from the PSC. So it's interrelated. And talking with Kathy, this loan would be something she's extremely interested in, something we should pursue. And this is just, these actions are just, I guess, let me pursue authorization, and trying to pursue this loan is nothing to do with actually starting construction or getting bids or approving any bidding.
Thanks, Justin.
I probably would add one thing. The application to the drinking water fund is basically a very brief project description and how we, would plan to fund it. But basically, they grade our project and they look at per capita income or median income and some other factors. And there was 80 million to loan this year, I think.
Yeah, 80 million available for loan.
So every other water system is possibly looking, if they've got a bigger project, to apply, and then we get on this list. And then they cut it off based on their funding, and we'll be either above the line or below. And if we're above the line, that's a good thing, and then we would be back to ask permission to actually, at some point, actually do the paperwork to fund, the application, which would be a lot more strenuous and to get together. But this is just a very simple application at this point.
Yeah, it's one of those things where this application is typically due December 31st. They changed it this year and is due October 31st, which kind of spurred this discussion tonight. Because if we're going to try to pursue this loan, it needs to be, the first steps need to be taken now. And what's the first step is just putting together for this application is just our intent, and basically our preference points start getting developed by the DNR. So we put this application in, we have no obligation at all. In about mid-January to early February, we should know where we rank in the entire state. So then we will know if we should continue to pursue, if we have a good chance. And I talked with the DNR lady today, and we may be able to also qualify for some principal forgiveness. You know, we did discuss our median household income. We were kind of below the state average by 80%. Our population came in is also a big factor, so she said we have a pretty good chance of getting that forgiveness if we get this loan. So, I mean, it's a very good situation for our utility, and it's a long process. It would take all of next year to go through with the whole application, but once we secure it, you know, we'd have that low interest rate, and at some point where we don't want it anymore, we change our minds, we can back out, no strings attached. So.
Thanks, Justin.
One more question or comment.
Yeah, please.
This originated with the possibility of the Piotr land going for sale. Is that when this all came about up there?
I don't recall.
Or then that wasn't,
Well, I
wasn't
can-
that a connection thing?
Well, yeah,
But in either case, my point was, even if that hasn't gone through, this is still a necessary thing for the general development of the West End?
well, it's a water
Improvement, I mean, not
security
problem,
issue, and if you asked us to prioritize the Bailey Street project, the one at about 100,000, is a more critical, right? Because if we have a water main break, all of West Fulton, all the way out to 10, is down. Because it's not looped, there's no, you know, there's no redundancy, which would really be a, you know, could be a bad situation, so.
Yeah, I would say this project isn't urgent until it is. It's just one of those things where if we have a break at a certain point, everyone to the west of that is out of water. And with that being highly commercial, you know, the fire department's gonna know we have a water main break before we do, because all their sprinkler alarms are gonna be saying there's not enough pressure here. So, Henry is right. We divvied it up into two different projects. The Bailey Street project is slightly more important because it would service about the Burger King, and then to have the extra main underneath 10 would do the rest out to Foxfire area.
Comments, questions, or motion? We're taking both of these. There's two things. There's the authorization to obtain bids, and then there's the authorization to apply for the Safe Water Fund loan funding.
You want separate motions then?
No, just one motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to, for approval for bids and also to apply for our safe drinking water loan and to obtain the construction authorization.
Second.
Moved by Hagan. Yeah, I have this thing that I'm going to try to read correctly.
I approve if you wish to.
Say so moved.
Moved by Hagan, second by Hackett, to authorize the Director of Public Works to obtain bids after approval of the construction authorization from the Public Service Commission, and authorization to apply to the Safe Drinking Water Fund loan funding for construction of a water transmission main loop project in an amount not to exceed $430,000. Sandy will call the roll.
Are you going to continue on with discussion? I just have another
Sure.
question.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Did they say anything about the principal forgiveness as to an approximate amount, or they just said it's a good chance?
There's a formula. there was, what was there, 60 million for the total? Was that?
I think 80 million.
80 million? And then there was like 5 million of that could be for principal forgiveness. And there is like a formula, and then depending on how you score, it's a percentage of what we're asking for. So we're asking for 430,000. It could be roughly 40% of that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Paul Hagan.
Aye.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Eric Olson.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Jillian Peterson. Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
Alan Keeland.
Aye.
Paul Mayo.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
And Dave Peterson.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, the last item under new business is license report number 1291, operators licenses. Detective Sergeant, do you have any issues with any of these people, or?
No, I did not.
Okay,
And I met with Chief Golk, and he didn't have any he didn't have any problems or any information that he provided me.
okay, good. All right, be looking for a motion to approve.
Move to approve license report number 1291.
Second.
Moved by Keelan, second by Chestnut, that council approves of license report number 1291, operators licenses. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We have no issues or project discussion. Inasmuch as the mayor's not here, we have no communications or recommendations, and I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Hagan, second by Keelan, that we adjourn until our next scheduled meeting, third Tuesday of the month, subject to call. All those in favor?
Is there going to be a special meeting next Tuesday, Henry?
Yes, sir. We're going to start at 5:30 officially, but come around 5 because we'll have a few snacks and some stuff, and we'll get set up. We'll get that into a memo, but the meeting is officially going to start at 5:30. I think there were some aldermen that had needed a few minutes. And hopefully, I know the library board's got a meeting, and police and fire commission, but please get here as soon as you can. We will schedule your departments later in the night, so shouldn't be a problem.
And Henry, are they meeting at the library room?
Yes, library,
Rooms A and B.
library, A and B.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We're adjourned at 6:51. Thank you all.